Here's a brief synopsis of the crazy stuff that goes on in my head. I know, I don't care either. I have to get through this really fast to get to the good part. It may all make sense. The world economy is propped up by the U.S. economy, but the U.S. economy is a house built on a bad foundation. The U.S. government collected $3.3 trillion in taxes last year, but spent $4.1 trillion. It had to borrow $779 billion just to meet expenses. The national debt rose more than $1.2 trillion to an unbelievable $21.5 trillion. And net interest on that debt rose $371 billion. The Congressional Budget Office estimates that America will be spending more on interest than national defense within a decade. These statistics are hard to fathom. For perspective, compare the government to a household. Slash 7 zeros from the official figures, and it is like a well-to-do family that earns $330,000 a year, yet spends $410,000 a year. This family put a staggering $78,000 on its credit card last year, even though it already had $2,150,000 in credit. This is credit card debt. It pays $37,000 a year in interest, and it no longer pretends to have the plans to pay it back. No well-managed bank would lend this family more money. The world economy is propped up by the U.S. economy, but the U.S. economy is a house built on a bad foundation. The U.S. government has spent like this for decades. The nations keep lending it all the money it wants at historically low interest rates. Why? Banks keep lending American money because the dollar is the world's dominant reserve currency. Nearly 45% of the world's debt is denominated in dollars, and about 52% of international trade is conducted in dollars. Since banks around the world need a lot of dollars to conduct business, almost 62% of foreign exchange reserves are held in dollars. The high demand for dollars keeps the interest rate on America's debt low because many people want to own dollars. They want to buy dollars. Purchasing U.S. debt in the form of U.S. Treasury bonds is an easy way to do that. And since many people want to buy these bonds, America's government can sell them at incredibly low interest rates. But as nations lose faith in the U.S. financial system and sell off their dollar reserves, the situation is changing. The dollar is losing its reserve currency status. Its value is decreasing. This is big. This is really what it's all about right here. This is the collapse of any system. This is why other economies and countries could not use their money as a reserve currency because there was no faith or backing. No widespread trust in that. This is what every economist says. It's the faith in the monetary system that assures its backing. We can see this by the U.S. dollar. It's dwindling or eroding. That is in the eye of the rest of the world. The only reason the dollar hasn't collapsed yet is that the world's other major currencies are in even worse shape than the dollar. Since there is currently no viable alternative reserve currency, banks grudgingly continue to use the dollar despite its flaws. This will change, and soon. Here's why I say that, and here's what I think. The BRICS nations. If you don't know anything about the BRICS nations, here's a brief description. BRICS is an acronym for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Many nations in the Eastern Hemisphere have said that they are going to sign on. BRICS is an intergovernmental organization comprising of Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, and the United Arab Emirates. Saudi Arabia being the next. That would make it 10. Should I pause here? Or should I show you this? Originally identified to highlight investment opportunities, the grouping evolved into a cohesion geopolitical bloc, with governments meeting annually at former summits and coordinating multilateral policies since 2009. Bilateral relations among BRICS are conducted mainly on the basis of non-interference, equality, and mutual benefit. The bottom line, BRICS refers to certain emerging market countries that seek to establish deep ties between member nations and cooperative on economic expanses, including trade. The countries act as a counterbalance to traditional Western influence. I don't know if it's going to be this or this is just a catalyst for what's to come, but I'm paying attention to what this alliance is doing. We are all watching this form right before our eyes. They have their own summit meetings to counter the G7, the G20, NATO, United Nations, OPEC, all those alliances. Is it making sense yet? Out of these 10 emerging alliances it has to come, one centralized leader to lead this. If this sounds preposterous or antiquated, you're dumb.
Tell me what you want and I'll be that for you.
You're dumb.
I could be that.
But the one that will rule over this new alliance will be said to hate and destroy the current economic global system.
The beast who once was, and now is not, is an eighth king. He belongs to the seven and is going to his destruction. The 10 horns you saw are 10 kings who have not yet received a kingdom, but who for 1 hour will receive authority as kings along with the beast. They have one purpose, and will give their power and authority to the beast. They will wage war against the Lamb. The beast and the 10 horns you saw will hate the prostitute. They will bring her to ruin and leave her naked. They will eat her flesh and burn her with fire. For God has put it into their hearts to accomplish his purpose by agreeing to hand over to the beast their royal authority until God's words are fulfilled. The woman you saw is the great city that rules over the kings of the earth.
Arms or military strength will be at his disposal, says who will be able to make war with him. The most advanced artificial intelligence system will be under his complete control. This new alliance will be partly strong and partly weak and be divided. This leader, he will stand up against the other world leaders. He will have the world wondering about him. From this new alliance, these 10 will give their strength and power to him. There will be one alongside him that will cause fire to come down on the earth, and he will also create an artificial intelligence system. His partner and teammate will make an AI image and cause for the people, the nations, to give their allegiance and be connected to this AI image financially to partake in this new economic system. From here, we can only speculate, guess, and be curious enough to look into it. In Revelation 19:10, it says the testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy. Jesus is the substance of all prophecy, or put it another way, Jesus is the common theme among all prophecy. All true prophecy bears the witness of Jesus. Therefore, all prophecy should cause us all to worship him. And no prophecy comes to us except through him, ultimately pointing to God as the source of all true prophecy. The testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy. The testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy.